till every foe is vanquished and Christ is crowned indeed. Stand up for Jesus, the trumpet call obey. Fall through the mighty conflict in this his glorious day. Ye that are men now serve him against the numbered foe. Let courage rise with danger and strength to strength oppose. Stand up for Jesus, stand in his strength alone. The arm of flesh will fail you, ye dare not trust your own. Put on the gospel armor, and watching unto prayer, where duty calls or danger, be never wanting there. Stand up for Jesus, the strife will not be long. This day the noise of battle, the next the victor's song. To him that overcometh, a crown of life shall be. He with the King of glory shall reign eternally.
Thank you so much, praise team. I will request that we take our seats. Moderator, I think we now have a good quorum. We have the quorum, and moderator, it's time for the report of the Christian education.
Christian education. We will lash you a bit. We'll lash you a bit. So the next few reports, we shall move a bit fast. So just make highlights and then invite the seconder. Those things you think we should hear. Not that there's anything not important in the report, but make quick highlights, invite the seconder so that we can move a bit faster.
Moderator, sir, thank you for the opportunity to present the Christian education report. And Christian education is about discipleship. It's about equipping the learner to become like Christ. And so we seek to see that there is teaching going on at the home, church. Document number 15. Sorry. And it's projected. Thank you. I take it again. Christian education is about discipleship, that is equipping the learner to become like Christ in order for God's people to manage transitions properly in the period in the phase covering the span of the womb to the tomb. And so we'll see to it that there is teaching and proper teaching going on at the home, the church, the school, and the society in general. As such, we work with all the departments of the ministries of the church. In line with the head office current strategic plan, we have rallied our outreach in the strategic objective that seeks the transformation of the church, families, relationships, and society through teaching Christ-centered knowledge And there below, you can see the 9 strategies that we are working on. On to the activities and the achievements of the year 2022. Firstly, we have updates on mission to Presbyterian schools. And we have been seeking to increase the visibility and the presence of the sponsor in the schools. And that one we are doing through emphasis on proper branding of our signboards, school gates, and also providing portraits of our current General Assembly moderator to all the sponsored schools and owned schools as one of the visible ways of making our presence seen and felt. We have also started work in that year under review on coming up with a liturgy or proposing a way forward for something useful for our schools. The burden of ensuring the effectiveness of the work of the sponsor in the schools and the need for expediency requires proximity and availability of dedicated officers representing the sponsor in all jurisdictions of the schools, namely sub-county, county, regional, and national levels. And this is meant to ensure real-time monitoring of the running of the schools. This calls for the church to consider engaging the services of qualified lay people to take up different roles in the jurisdictions stipulated above. B, we have been active in the ongoing education reforms. C, we have conducted capacity building workshops. We began with Central Region, we went to Mount Kenya region, and the other regions will be visited as well. D, we have what we are calling Revive and Restore Tour of Schools that started last year and was launched and flagged off by the moderator of the 23rd General Assembly, the Right Reverend Adegu Mutahi. This was done at PCA Thogoto on 29th May 2022, and it has 4 objectives. 1 is for mission and evangelism in our schools. 2 is to encourage the young people, and especially after what we saw as an aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic. Thirdly, collecting data on the ground. And fourthly, to reinforce the presence of the sponsor. We are grateful that having started with the Eastern region, we were able to visit, and this is a correction of the figure, not 119, but 132 schools we visited with this tour, and we were able to reach 23,948 students with 12,219 committing their lives to Christ. In the medium and long-term goals, we want to ensure that we raise our own school mission teams and invest in proper equipment for school outreach. E, Presbyterian Schools and Principals Association. The journey towards this started in March, and on 25th June 2022, principals came and endorsed the idea of having an association. We are glad to report that in the year under review, we were able to form 4 regions, namely Eastern Region, Central Region, Nairobi Region, and Rift Valley Region of PRESPA. So far, the counties under the Central and Eastern regions have held their meetings and identified their leaders, and I can report that the WhatsApp groups by the principals are quite active. Number 2 point is about institutional interactions, and we have had quite several as stipulated there. General capacity building, we have been involved in that as well. We started plans, number 4, to come up with a show that will encourage Bible literacy. That is, the plans are very well advanced. We started last year, and going forward, we will see that. Number 5, stakeholders engagement and partnership. We have continually been engaged locally and internationally, as you can see down there. Number 6, sermon notebook with lectionary. The uptake of the resource has been going up steadily, and we continue looking forward to more growth so that the church can grow as a family through well-organized thematic teachings and preaching. Number 7, Rays of Hope is still ongoing as a program on GAC TV, and plans are underway to have it as a live show to encourage real-time engagement with the viewers. Number 8, mediation training. We continue holding this virtually on monthly basis, and we trust that there will be more uptake, especially for ministers and elders, as they are involved daily with mediation matters. There is a point on PCA Sirai Primary School. Due to financial constraints, we could not manage to put up a junior secondary section, but in future, this is a possibility. Christian Education Week 2022 was properly observed. It was launched by the moderator of the 23rd General Assembly at PCA JKMC in Dagani on 27th February, and the theme of the week was a call to restoration and revival. And the theme was drawn from Psalm 80 and verse 19. Restore us, Lord God Almighty, make your face shine on us that we may be saved. We are happy that our congregations carried out the week. They were even more creative than we even suggested. Challenges. I'll just highlight 2 or so, 3 or so. The challenge of lack of an efficient way of getting timely communication feedback from the grassroots still persists. There's also the lack of connection between the parish Christian education groups and the department, which also poses some challenges. Another thing that comes out of the lack of connection is that the department is economically strained. Finally, the department deals with volumes of books and other resources that are distributed to churches and schools across the country. The department does not have a vehicle that can transport such items. Future plans. We are looking into strengthening PRESPA, that is the Principals Association, and the next level of that engagement will involve Presbyterian deputies, heads of primary schools, as well as Presbyterian teachers in general, as one of the important professional groups in the church. Trainings will go on. Developing different guidelines, and we look forward. Number 6, and we covet your prayers, and any donation will be welcome. We look forward to acquiring a double cabin pickup vehicle to help with the movement of resources and personnel across the church and institutions. In conclusion, Moderator Sir, we are grateful to the Almighty God for carrying us through the year and granting us success. The department is also very thankful to the General Assembly Office, together with all the church departments and institutions, for the support and guidance throughout the year. We shall continue giving Christ-centered knowledge so that God's people are not destroyed from lack of knowledge. We continue praying for the healing and recovery of our church, country, continent, and the world at large. For indeed, we serve a God who revives and restores. Thank you very much. I now invite our chairman to second what?
Moderator and the Assembly in seconding the report, you will note that in the year under review, the department has been very active. The area of education is quite diverse and therefore also overwhelming. We also must appreciate the support of the office, the support of the members of the church for the way they have continued to support this department. But more so, also we seek, because of the changes in the education sector, that we may continue actually to give support to this department and also give counsel and advice where it is needed, and in our areas we be active, because we need to zealously guard education. Thank you so much, and with that, Moderator Sir, I wish to second the report.
Thank you. Give them a clap. Thank you. Questions? Reverend Asman.
Okay. Moderator and the GAC, I have one question. Number one, in our schools, especially during the visit to the schools, there is a certain letter that is needed from the Ministry of Education so that we can avoid the harassment of the visit. What, as a department, what are you doing on that so that the rest of the schools, especially in Eastern region, that were left out, that they can be visited on? Thank you.
Any other? Reverend Modongo.
Thank you, Moderator and the GAC large. I just want to ask about the issue of chaplaincy. It never came out strongly, and we wanted to know what the Christian education is doing in that particular area. And number two is about the engagement with the government. Other than through the principals, are there any other ways that the department is reaching out because the government is one of our greatest stakeholders?
Answers.
Thank you very much, Moderator. On the issue of the letter, yes, a reminder has already been sent to the PS office because due to some laxity of some officers along the ladder there at Jogoo House, the letter somehow was lost somewhere last year when it was written, and we are trusting that by next week we will have the letter with us, the response from the PS. On chaplaincy, we are following up keenly on the validation process that is going on the guidelines for chaplaincy in schools, and we're glad that the chair of that team through the Ministry of Education is none other than our very own Reverend John Gato, and therefore we are following keenly. At the moment, we are taking data to see how many people are trained in chaplaincy, and also to see how many chaplains we have, and to see, because there's a way they have suggested grouping also of schools, so not every school will get a chaplain, but according to the numbers, they can be grouped together and all that. So we are working closely with that committee then to give our recommendations. Number three, yes, we are very much involved with the stakeholders in education, and I've noted in the report that we have made quite good strides with the TSC right from the top, and also the Ministry of Education, so that they help us out, and that has already borne some fruits in the staffing of our schools, especially in the area of principals. So we continue engaging with the stakeholders for the betterment of our education.
Comments? That's Reverend Jau.
Thank you, Moderator. I want to comment that the department has been very active. We are feeling it. And the work they are doing in schools is quite commendable. I think if they go with the same spirit, we will appreciate.
Reverend, Apa, Moderator Washuka Felix Modhomi.
Moderator and GAC, my comment is on in pursuit of Christian education. Would like the Christian education to have a resource center whereby we can get the academic theses and dissertations from different universities, whereby a person who is doing a study can go, either maybe a repository through the internet, whereby we can be getting resources that can be helpful in the study. Thank you.
Finally, can I see an elder? Elder Guyo.
a very good report, and Pogezi, they're doing a very good job. It's an improvement of the past reports and activities. I congratulate them. But I'm concerned about the issue of not being able to start a junior secondary school in Silai Primary School. And really, even public schools that don't have even a single laboratory, a single anything, are starting junior secondary school. I think it's a great concern that need to be addressed. The other issue is the issue of RES. We have mentioned quite a number of times the issue of RES, because as much as the directorate is doing a good job at that level, at the regional level, our links with the education offices as a church is very, very weak. We either devise a way of relating with them, or we actually do the RESs. I like the idea of pooling teachers into associations, because those teachers are the ones who form a pool of principals and deputy principals. Because a weakness in influencing the leadership of our school is real. Because many of our schools and strong schools are actually being headed by people from other denominations, not because we don't have people, but because the linkage and the pooling of our resources and personnel needs to be worked on. Thank you.
Do you have the time, Lady, for all those hands? Let's hear another elder. Then one more, please.
Okay, thank you. Moderator, I want to thank the Department of Education. And I want to say that the idea of PRESPA is a good idea. We have now a coordination, but at national level. We are still weak. That is why questions are being asked about Eastern. Because if we had in regions, like now we have zoning of allowed 4 regions. If those 4 regions had, for example, education secretaries, those education secretaries would be able to reach, for example, the regional directors, and they can get the letters at that level, or the county directors at that level. We will also be able to have a lot of say in the county education boards. And also, they can also be able to search and get the talents that are there, so that they are in a certain region, they have the data of who are these deputies who are now about to go to the level of being heads, who can be taken to, because if we only coordinate at national level, we shall miss out. And then lastly, somebody commented about the standards. If we had an education secretary, especially for a certain area, it then means we can be able to get from that region how is the performance of that area, and it is possible. But now the weak link that we have is that it is the parish minister in a certain parish. If that parish minister goes, another one comes, the link goes. But if the education secretary was there, at least there will be coordination. And so I would suggest that in future we look for ways. I know the structure for our church, the way it is, but we look for a way how we can enter this, because education is very key in our church.
Thank you. Reverend Karaja then, last one.
Thank you, moderator. Mine is on the lectionary and the sermon book. It's a good resource, but my concern is about its use in the church, because it has remained a department thing. So maybe there is that issue that had come on the theological desk. So maybe if it was made to be a tool to be used, for our sermons, and it becomes a church policy, rather than it being just from one department, it would help this church in terms of spiritual growth. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope you have taken note of the many good comments that have been made. in regard to education, in regard to schools, and they will form part of your work in the days ahead. There was also the formation of a board. Have you reported about the progress made so far? There was a board to be formed, and I am sure a circular was written. I don't know whether that is something that needs to be said that it is happening, because it's also a step towards the good things that you are doing, like what you have done for the principals, the school visits, and the other things that are being mentioned. Is the board ready? Or almost ready?
Moderator, sir, what you have said last is almost ready. Because the issue was sending names actually. One of the challenges that have been noted is the response actually from the regions, because it was a regional thing. We sent letters to the regions so that they can provide the people with the required professionalism. I think there was a delay in the response, but now the letters are coming, and moderator very soon will have a board in place. Thank you.
Thank you. Resolutions?
Moderator, sir, these are the resolutions. 1. This GAC receives the report of the Christian Education Department for the year 2022 and thanks them for vibrant and creative engagements throughout the year.
Taken.
Number 2. This GAC notes with appreciation the great role and investment of the church in the formal education sector in Kenya. Further, this GAC notes that the education sector is diverse and the coordination of the same a very enormous task that needs a lot of resources, both human and financial. Therefore, this GAC instructs Christian Education Department through the Business Committee to identify ways of engaging lay Presbyterian educationists on part-time or full-time basis to fill in the gaps in some of the key jurisdictions of sub-county, county, and regional levels. Further, this GAC instructs the Business Committee to seek ways in which the whole church can support Christian education financially as one of the crucial pillars that offer services to the entire church.
Very loaded. Would make two resolutions out of that, so that first you deal with the first part, the one that talks about the recruitment or engagement of educationists on part-time, and then the next one again that talks about financing. Maybe you could break them into two, but let's first hear whether it's agreeable about the matters that are there. There is the first matter in regard to Christian Education Department to identify ways of engaging lay Presbyterians, educationists on part-time or full-time basis to fill the gaps in some key jurisdictions of sub-county, regional levels. Is that okay? Yes. That's okay? Okay, that's taken. Then the next one that talks about financing. Is it taken? Yes. Okay, but break them down into two. Okay. Read the other one. Now number 4.
Moderator, sir, that's all.
Okay, read. We have agreed on the two that we have formulated. So we are done. Okay, good then.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, they can, an additional one. Okay.
Silai Primary School was not able to open junior secondary schools, and we further instruct the business committee together with the education directorate to find ways and means of establishing junior secondary school
at Silai.
Taken? Okay, get a seconder and draft it. You'll be given a piece of paper to draft it, get a seconder, word it properly. Don't talk of education directorate. Talk of Christian education department. Any other? Additional? That is Patricia.
Thank you, Moderator. I would love to propose another resolution that the GAC instructs the Christian education to come up with a church policy on PCA and government-sponsored schools and collaborate with the government to ensure that proper governance structures are put in place for all our schools.
Read it out again.
The GAC instructs the Christian education to come up with a church policy on PCA and government-sponsored schools and collaborate with the government to ensure that proper governance structures are put in place for all our schools.
Do you have that? Or that is adding to what you should do?
Moderator, it's work in progress. I'm just not sure whether we have a resolution to that effect.
So let's have it. Taken? Good. Evegetudu, the last one.
This GAC notes with concern lack of link between Christian Education Department and parishes. Further, this GAC instructs the business committee to facilitate the formation of boards in the Legion to enhance the link between the two.
Taken? Taken? Okay, let's first wait for them to form a board at the national level, and then we can identify the gaps that he has talked about. I think we are done. We can give them another clap as they descend, as they go back to their original place of sitting.
Moderator, sir, as we go back, allow me to appreciate that outside we have portraits, so that as we have said that all schools need portraits of the head of the church, because most of the times we only have for the government, and these are church-sponsored schools. We need the portrait of the moderator, so that everyone who enters that school can identify that school with the Presbyterian Church. And therefore, there are portraits there outside. Those with school, please do purchase one. And also, we have the sermon notebooks that have been mentioned. Please carry them so that even the sermons we preach can be uniform coming from those sermon notebooks. Thank you, Moderator.
Thank you. So visit the appropriate desk and you'll get those items.
Moderator, before we go to the next report, two announcements. One, is that kindly you are requested to visit the Tumaini Cottages and Mirere Resort, Nakuru. They have amazing offers at their tent outside. Kindly visit them. Also, ensure you buy a product or two from communications desk. Those are the announcements. And Moderator, sir, the next report is of the youth ministry.
Youth ministry, come over, highlight the important parts only. We'll move very fast.
Bwana asifiwe. Moderator, sir, thank you very much. And I want to begin by appreciating that you admitted my apology for yesterday. And yeah, here for business. This morning in the devotion, Moderator, I captured one thing that was said by the expositor. And he said, consider your attitude. And I think that is what arises this report as I present it in this GAC. Kenya has continued to see the increase of a youthful population.
Document.
Document number 7, Moderator. Document number 7. And I'll do a quick highlight as directed. I'll begin with a small introduction that Kenya has continued to see an increase of our youthful population, something that moderator you alluded to in your early statements, that this youth bulge has become a global phenomenon and Kenya is no exception. That the youth in Kenya 15 to 34 will remain a significant proportion of Kenya's population in the foreseeable future, and 35% of the Kenyan population. In Kenya, this youth bulge presents a number of opportunities and challenges for both the youth, the church, and the country. The current number of youths present an opportunity for them to drive the church into the future if they are well disciplined in faith and life, as well as drive the economy if they have the right skill sets and are gainfully engaged. So I will skip to point 3.0, which is about our core programs. We have continued to put our emphasis and our focus, and we began a program development engagement in the year under review. And these are teens ministry, college age ministry, middle adult ministry, engagement with parents of teens as strategic partners in the ministry to the young people, leadership development, and also the program of dedication and commissioning. And the strategic areas for each of the groups can be found in the pages that follow. Moderators, this year we're also delighted to mark 63 years of youth ministry in the church, and we wish to take these opportunities to have an annual Youth Champions Luncheon to tap into the past skills, experiences, and resources to win partnerships that can help us propel the cause of youth ministry in the church. Point 5.0, moderators signed the year under review. Sexual orientation and gender identity crisis has taken a very prominent place in the global community. However, it's important to note that sexual immorality is a spirit that has been prevalent in our land and our communities, and that it does manifest itself in more ways than one, as has been the main narrative, because we have also to consider the issues of fornication, pornography, prostitution, bestiality, pedophilia, lust, pagan sexual practices, incest, and also homosexuality, as the conversation has been going on in our community. Point number 6 is that in the year under review, moderator, the local church emerges as a biblical epicenter for the body of Christ, in which youth are able to be brought in the community of faith, have character development, and also be able to experience their talent, giftings, and abilities in forwarding the commission as it is in the Word of God. A place where they can be able to practice the skills and the gifts that the Lord has given to them. And in the year under review, moderator, we proposed a youth ministry partnership model for the local church that brings in 8 key players to improve the quality of the youth ministry in the local church. Number 7, moderators, are youth coordinators. In the year under review, there was an increase of the number of youth coordinators. Presently, we have around 90 of them, and many of them have actually been recruited in the last about 2 years. This is a step in the right direction, and we wish to note that in the last year that the policy for their inclusion in the human resource manual of the church was adopted, and it was implemented, and we are grateful for that. Number 8, we note that the year under review had many cases of suicide and murder within families, and this was mainly in the age group of 25 up to 40. However, research also showed that 8 out of 10 teenagers, that is about 80%, indicated that they had a good experience in the family, and therefore it also brings to the fore the place of the family in youth ministry. Number 9, restructuring of groups. We used to make a note on this, moderator, and some of the issues that have to do with restructuring of groups, both negative and positive. Number 1 is about the leadership training ground, ministry gap that was created, social limitation and localization, issues of coordination of the ministry, and also funding. I do not wish to say many things about those subtopics because the content is included therein for our perusal. Youth inclusion, noting that the demographic distribution of youth in the country and the church, we wish to highlight that we noted that the top organization boards in the church, they do not have youth representation whether it is the health board, Presbyterian, SACCO, the board of trustees of the church, and the other boards that we have at the national level. And this is something we wish that the church can consider. Point 11 is that government and ecumenical youth programs have been very many in our country. We note that in the last year, the government continued to emphasize on some of the programs that are offering youth opportunities for training and also finances, and we have listed some of them there. Point number 12 for our physical growth and development in the year is that we have continued to maintain our Toronto facilities, and we are currently renovating one of our properties that is in Sooner Estate. Moderator, last year we also held a National Youth Conference, the Y Summit, and the numbers in terms of participation are there. We had targeted to host 2,000 delegates. We had 1,780 delegates. I wish, moderator, to point us to, before I leave the National Conference, we wish to appreciate Assyrian Parish because they brought 34 delegates for the National Conference, and I thought, moderator, that was very commendable of them. Some of the challenges that we have experienced in the year, like have been mentioned by the department because some of them are common. Number one is communication. Secondly is low participation in regional activities due to increased expenditure at the parish because of the restructuring. Number three, the social challenges that the youth have continued to face. Number four is the unemployment, realizing or noting that Kenya churns out about 800,000 new people who need employment, but the opportunities for employment are not as many. Suicide and homicides, harmful use of technology, albeit the fact that technology is a good thing, it has also created a lot of challenges among the young people. And then finally, the disillusionment among the youth, where we have many parishes whose youth coordinators were terminated, and some of those issues came to us, and the youth were seeking a way forward. In the year under review, moderator, sir, as I come to the conclusion, to invite my chairman for seconding, is that we were able to carry out leadership training seminars despite the many financial challenges were there, and also mobilization. We held National Youth Summit in which 109 souls were won to Christ. We carried out a national mission in Turkana Mission area in conjunction with Eldoret Presbytery, and 400 souls were won to Christ among the young people. Many youths were dedicated and commissioned. The policy recommendation to include the youth coordinators in the service charter of the church was actualized, and there was growth in the parishes that recruited youth coordinators. In the place of my National Board Youth Chairman, who had an apology, moderator, sir, our Eastern Region Board Member, Elder Charles Wahome, will second the report.
Moderator and the GAC, on behalf of the Chairman of the Board, Reverend Julius Dumia, I rise to second the report. The board did adopt the report on the 15th of February this year. And just to say, moderator, the GAC, that some of the plans that we have for the future is policy proposal through research-based programs development, stakeholders capacity development, advocacy and strategic partnerships, revenue generation capacity increase, monitoring and impact assessment of programs, and policy implementation. And so in conclusion, we are grateful to God who has carried us through the past year with all its challenges and opportunities. We have learned much that will be useful in the days to come. We are thankful to the church for all the support and encouragement to you, the ministries across board. We look forward to the implementation of our objectives with the help of God and the facilitation of the church. Praise the Lord. I second the report, moderator.
Thank you. A clap for them. Questions? No questions. Comments? Elder Rumo.
Thank you, moderator and the GAC and the youth for a good report. Some of us were trying to keep up with the speed, but finally we are here. Moderator, my comment is we have seen the youth conferences at the national level. Maybe it would be important to consider zoning the various regions and organizing them so that you would be commending several parishes and congregations for having sent very many youths, because at a zoning, you would have only your team traveling. But in the case where you have a national event, everybody who requires to be sent, there must be a financial consideration. So consider zoning and working with the various regions and presbyteries. Thank you.
Elder Mahui.
Thank you, Moderator and the GAC. Earlier, and then I want to thank the Youth Ministry for a very comprehensive report, which is very good. Earlier in the morning, we had our PCMF, because we are speaking about youth also as YPCMF. And I'm happy to hear that even the PCMF is developing a rope manual. They should also embrace also premarital counseling for our youth. In the youth ministry, we have youth in our church are so many, Moderator, and we have been told that the average age in Kenya is poised to be 19.1 years. You should know when we pray for the young people in the churches, and I'm sure people will agree with me, when they come in front there, the seats are normally left empty. So we have got so many youth in our church. I'm concerned with our young people who are courting for marriage. We need to put up in place a good program for premarital counseling for our young people who are intending to get married, to prepare them well for marriage. Some of the evangelical churches that we have a robust program running for a longer time. Moderator, I'm not speaking about the few lessons they have before they go to the altar for blessing of their marriages, about 4 or 5 or 6 lessons. I'm talking about working with these people who are getting ready for marriage so that we can have a well-prepared young people, because this is what we are finding people, marriages breaking because of lack of that mentorship. So I believe maybe we can put in place a robust program for premarital counseling, working for a longer period of time than the few lessons that they have before marriage. Thank you.
Finally, Reverend Mugambi, at the back.
Thank you, Moderator and the GAC. I want also to comment that their report is good, but I have a concern. Looking at the fact that the youth in our country is a great concern, and there are many multi-agencies that are concerned with the youth. Moderators, I think it is important for the department to think outside the box. I have seen in their report that as a future plan, they want to engage with other strategic partners, and I think it should be done like yesterday. We should look at other agencies which are concerned with the youth affairs, so that we can be able to capacity build our youth. We can also be able to help our youth grow in wholesome, in all dimensions, without only considering the spiritual aspect. Thank you, Bwana Moderator.
Go ahead, said finally.
Thank you, Moderator, even for considering us. And I want to thank the youth department for what they have been doing and what they have done. But Moderator, through the comments that have been said, especially one member, we need to remind ourselves that last GAC, we had a resolution 7745, which dealt with a lot of issues across all the departments. And I know the business set a committee which came out with a way forward on how to bring all the family. Actually, it was talking about the family values. I think that is work in progress, that manuals will be created so that we can take care of our young couples, our young people, even during the elope and all that. And I think if that now is done conclusively, I think the fears that are there will be solved, Bwana Moderator.
Thank you. Let's have the resolutions now.
Thank you very much for the comments. Moderator, sir, these are the resolutions. Number 1, this GSC receives the report of the Youth Department and its audited accounts with gratitude. Second one, the Youth Department wishes to thank the Church for consideration and implementation of policy on youth coordinators' employment. Further, we call upon the Church to give them the necessary support to fulfill their ministry.
Taken.
Thirdly, the GAC joins the Youth Department in marking 63 years of youth ministry in the Church and appreciates all those who have participated in the youth ministry leadership over the same period. Further, the GAC allows the Youth Departments to create the Youth Champion Award for outstanding promotion of youth welfare and ministry in the Church.
Taken.
Number 4, the GAC notes with interest the youth demographics in the country and the potential this represents to the Church and nation. Further, the GAC directs all national church boards to have qualified youth as members.
National church boards. Which ones?
All of them, sir.
For example?
For example, even the departmental boards, because we have members who are youth in the PCMF, in the Women Guild, in the SACCOR, in the Church Trustees, in Presbyterian Foundation, Health Board, all of those boards. Moderator, sir, for example, allow me to ask if there is anyone under 35 in the hall who is a commissioner or delegate.
I allow you.
So if you're here and you're under 35 as a delegate or commissioner, kindly stand.
Apewe zawadi huyo ni mmoja na mwingine.
Tuko na hata na mchungaji, asante sana. But moderator, this is exactly what we mean, that we need more youth inclusion, considering that the youth country under 35, we are 40 million out of 57 million of the total population.
You know, national church boards is a bit vague, because within it you may even talk about the business committee. So we need to be clear so that we don't say yes. Then we find ourselves indebted to the youth because we passed a resolution. So I don't know whether members, how you like it. Much as it's a concern, a real concern, the youth, the average youth, the average age in Kenya is 19. So we must do something about it. I see a hand there. Elder Dumo.
Thank you, Moderator. Indeed, a very, very forward-looking and compliance issue, because even the Constitution requires that we do that. But however, maybe we need to change the resolution further. The GAC directs all national board to consider the youth inclusion, so that considering you are not directing that there must be, but then that consideration is given.
Amendment taken.
Moderator, sir, before maybe the floor answers, I think we'd like the GAC to direct, not to ask people to consider. Because the marginalization issue will continue if people are given that leeway. And because, like he rightly said, it's a compliance issue, I think we go the way of directing.
Members, what do you feel about it? Level Moria?
I want to support the youth director in the sense that It is at this age of youth, the youth age, that our children start practicing leadership. Sunday school begins their age. And therefore, when you find them in small number, in various departments of home, we give them an opportunity to learn, noting that the
So are you agreeing that we retain the
It
word direct?
at least
That
to
the
have some
national church boards to have qualified youth as members? You want it as it is? Reverend Brother. Then I can come to this side.
Thank you, moderator and then GC. I think we need to consider a few things before we pass it wholesale, because we also have the board of trustees, and the constitution, how it is constituted, is a policy issue, and we know who should be the board of trustees. We need to itemize the bonds before we pass it wholesale.
Every minute.
I propose that we start with the youth board itself, that now they can be inclusive from themselves. Then from there, we grow them as they graduate to others.
Aha. Suppose we were to ask the church, in formulating policy, in review of constitution, to take up this matter, to see how it can be brought into life. Because when it touches on policy, if you start an overhaul of, as it has been said, the board of trustees, look how youthful it is, get some youth up there, come to the business committee who is under 35, again another issue, come to all our committees. We may pull down the house. So it is a concern that we must address. How do we address it? How do we address it so that it doesn't mar what we have? I think that's the issue. The spirit is acceptable, but again, if we put legislation, it might affect us in the way we operate. We are operating. It might leave us the way our constitution in Kenya has found that it's not able to bring gender inclusion, though it is in the constitution. It is there, but it's not enacted. So maybe we need a better approach than maybe legislating that saying because when we pass it, it says from this GAC, once we leave this place, once the overhaul. I think that's the fear. That would be the fear. Otherwise, we have nothing against the spirit of the resolution. Elder Guyo.
I also join in saying it's very good spirit and we should support it. And I like some words that have been put there. The issue of qualified. The issue of qualified because there's not any youth. The other thing that I would like maybe to moving your way is to have this thing the GAC directs the business committee to consider ways of engaging the youth in church leadership in an incremental way.
Okay, that's a proposal. Is it agreeable? Is it agreeable? Okay, that's then, you do that adjustment. You can hear we are very supportive of the resolution.
Thank you, indeed, moderator.
Thank you. Next one.
Thank you very much. Number 5, this GAC notes with concern the increased number and fierceness of challenges faced by the young people. This calls for youth ministry pastoral caregivers to increase their capacity to deliver effective ministry. The GAC directs the training committee to review the training curriculum of elders and ministers to capture in greater depth relevant content that reflects the current pastoral care environment and needs of youth. Further, this GAC directs all presbyteries to organize annual capacity building workshop for all elected congregational leaders, patrons and chaplains in conjunction with the youth department.
Very noted. And many of us are slow in learning. So we need to package it properly, and that's why resolutions should be a bit shorter, because they get it faster. So I don't know how, do you get the spirit in it? So, is it agreeable? Would you try to unload it?
Okay. Moderator, the spirit of this resolution is that we need to, so to say, to use this phrase,
Greetings! It is a pleasure to inform you that the Presbyterian Church of East Africa is holding its second GAC of the 23rd General Assembly from 11th to the 14th of April 2023. This year's GAC is organized and hosted by the Central Region in Bantu Africa Resort, Plenary County. Commissioners from the 59 presbyteries of the church, as well as delegates from the departments and institutions of the church, will be in attendance. The GAC will also receive guests both locally and internationally. Inspiration and ministration will be offered by various choirs drawn from the various sides of the church. The theme of this year is drawn from Haggai 1:5b. Give careful thought to your ways.
Argument that Reverend Changari had actually mentioned about the work that is being done is taking into consideration all this. And I'm saying this because it has been reported to the business and all this has been captured.
So there is something cooking at a higher level in regard to your concern. So sit back and wait. There is something cooking in regard to what you are saying here. So is that what you are saying, members of the business? That there is something you are doing, because I don't want to tell the youth something is coming and then nothing comes. If a meal is being prepared, you sit back and wait.
Okay.
So we drop the resolution because of that information.
Okay, guided moderator, and thank you, members. Number 6, moderator, this GAC takes note of the feasibility and benefits of, moderator, I do not even wish to read this because it is captured, I believe, in the same, because according to what I'm hearing is to be the spirit of what is cooking, and hopefully we'll be able to, smell it soon. It is still captures because it is about capacity building at the...
Then move to the next one.
Yes, so the last one, number 7, the GAC notes the challenges created by the restructuring of groups vis-a-vis the socio-developmental and connectional nature of young people. Further, the GAC directs the business committee to review that decision in order to create a structure that facilitates connectional youth ministry in the church.
Again, it appears like the youth had hacked the business committee server, because this is a review. This is a review of the Constitution, and we know the youth can afford to do that. These are my concerns that are already in the business committee about the review of the Constitution. So it's taken care of. So we drop it.
Thank you, moderator. Sir, those are all the resolutions that we heard.
Thank you, Reverend Mirengo and Elder Wahome. Wapigie makofi. Wakiketi. SG.
Thank you. Thank you, moderator. Our next report is the finance report.
Finance people, come over. Not ready? Where is the finance officer?
We are still waiting for the finance team. And if they are not ready, we can go to another report. They are too slow.
Okay, take to the podium.
Good afternoon, members of the GAC. Our report is document 9. Yeah. One minute, moderator, sir, so that I open. The Finance Committee is pleased to present to the GAC the report together with the audit financial accounts for the head office for the period 2021-2022. The functions of the Finance Committee. Moderator Sir, we've highlighted the functions that are to prepare the annual budget for the church, make requests for subsidies from overseas churches and organizations to ensure appeals in East Africa to specific purposes approved by the General Assembly, to receive and disburse the funds entrusted in the General Assembly for local and overseas sources, to prepare and publish annual and duly audited statements of account for the head office. And number 6, to oversee the collections of the funds for the church purposes. Achievement. During the year under review, the Finance Committee held 5 meetings. And number 3 is the meetings, that is meetings. 2, family bank partnership. Members were able to enjoy the interest rate at 12.5%. The church is able to receive the interest from all accounts held in the bank, and this I don't need to rebut because we had the family bank where we discussed all the interest or the benefits for the family bank. The ERP, the church is in the progress of implementing the ERP that will greatly help this church in terms of improving efficiency in our operations and management of church resources. The ERP will provide real-time information for decision-making at all levels of the church leadership. It will also help achieve the synergy that will help the church achieve its ministerial objective in terms of reduction of some of the challenges the church has been going through. Kairete payments. During the period, the Finance Committee was able to pay 116 million to the bank during the year under review. Ministry support. The Finance Committee has continued to support the ministry by providing the required financial support for GA officials and the ministries of the church. Performance during the year. During the year under review, the budget income was 264 million. However, only 224 million was received, leaving a balance of 40 million unreceived. Hence, a net loss of 10.6 million. The summary is as follows. This is summarized as follows. Members can go through that. And of course, the only point I can point out is to say, point number A, the adverse variances. That was the first one, was meetings, which had an adverse variance due to the meetings of various committees and boundary committees, ad hoc committees, boundary. There was an adverse position of 43.3 in terms of meetings. Due to unavailability of funds, the earmark development of 15.5 million were not done during the year under review. And the staff cost, with staff costs, 2 employees left, while 2 directors and 1 IT officers were not employed as projected due to cash flow constraints, hence the variance of 11.7. Implication of the above cash analysis. There was we closed over with 3 months' salaries unpaid during the year under review. B, due to unavailability of 40 million that were not received, we were unable to allocate budgeted items of Kenya shillings 40.2. Budget challenges. That is a challenges budget. During the year under review, there were a budget adjustment of about 18 million. This had an implication in the financial performance of the year under review. At the same time, we paid legal fees on behalf of Presbyterian foundations together with auctioneers' fees amounting to 23.6 million, of course, which complicated the matter further as analyzed above. Economic hard times and cost of living. The rate of inflation for the year 2022 hit a 9.2 mark, while Kenya shillings depreciated by almost 10%. This may have been the reason that made cess receivable increase by 12.5%, that is from 544 to 612 million. Cash flow constraints. From the cash analysis above, it was evidence that it had serious cash flow constraints for the year under review, hence the inability to achieve the projected goals and objectives of the church. Number 4, Milele Beach Hotel. Well, the project continues to perform well as at the coast. The loan at NBK is not performing, as quite a number of parishes have stopped paying the Kairete funds. Milele Beach Hotel is worthy investment with regard to investment with far-reaching ministerial benefits now and in future. The inconsistent payment of Kairete funds poses a huge risk to this worthy investment. The Finance Committee urges all members to do all that is possible to ensure that they meet their Kairete commitment. Recommendations. For the smooth running of all church operations, the Finance Committee urges all stakeholders to support the budget-making process so that all intended purposes of the church are met without strain. Powers of synergy, noting the hard economic times the church is undergoing, the Finance Committee recommends that the church embraces the power of numbers, putting resources together so that the entire church can achieve more than separate entities, that is, the congregations, parishes, presbyteries, and institutions could achieve individually. The common banking system. As we embark on a cost-cutting measures, we urge all parishes to ensure that they prioritize MMF as a first charge. We advise that it would be very beneficial for presbyteries to embrace the common bank operations, as it will enable seamless payments of obligations at all levels without much human effort. This will effectively reduce the receivables. Milele Beach Hotel, owing to the variability of this project, the implications of monthly non-remittance, the Finance Committee urges all the stakeholders to cooperate in doing all that is possible to urgently finish the Milele apartment to save the church from further losses. I want Moderator Sir to invite the chair to second and conclude in this report.
Thank you, Moderator. In the GAC, in furtherance of seconding this, I just wish to say three things. One, we operated on a difficult business environment, which is global. You know that we are coming from the COVID. The church, even now, we have not gone to the optimal. And we as a committee, we appreciate the environment which we have operated in. At the same time, it's also good to let the committee members know that we operate courtesy of the support of the church, because our budget is 80% funded by the presbyteries through their parishes, and that's something we need to acknowledge. Also, we need also to appreciate that we developed manuals, which I believe at the General Assembly, these manuals are already in operation, the procurement, the ICT, in so far as prudent financial management is concerned. The other thing that we also doing, we have noted, well, we note that for maybe over 10 years, we have not reviewed the MMF criteria, and we believe that is a high time. In the Financial Committee, we have had these discussions, but we would wish to use data, and that's why the issue of ERP is on, so that going forward, the classification that we have, we base it on financial data. With this concern, but I believe we'll be somewhere. The other issue, as it has been alluded about the debts, this has been a challenge, and I know the business committee is in discussion on these issues, and that's one reason perhaps the business in its wisdom felt that we don't need to increase. But what we agree, and I'm happy at this point when we are in this GAC, close to 75% of the presbyteries are in compliance. But Moderator, this time around, we never did that roll call, but I believe we could be somewhere on the understanding that whatever we have agreed, we remit so that this debt does not grow. Because when you see our budget is a very limited budget, whenever we don't receive, we always close the year with unmet expenditure. And then also it's also good to let the committee appreciate that in the year under review, we had an auditor on board It's good to appreciate that our former auditor, Kenyua and Associates, we had to seek 1 year extension because of the COVID challenge. So when we did 4 years, he felt that from the professional pronouncement, his status at the ISPAC will not be in good standing for being with one auditor, or rather with one client for more than 4 years. So it's also good to appreciate. This was a transition year with a new auditor, and for those CPAs who are in the hall, they know when you are transiting an auditor, there could be some challenge, the auditor trying to know the client, but we appreciate the new auditor was able to go through our accounts and reported appropriately. Thank you, moderator. I second, thank you.
Thank you, a clap for them. But don't look too sad. Don't look too sad and make people sad. We are in the business of selling hope. We want our people to realize that tomorrow can be better. So we do not want anything that will make us feel, oh, we are mourning so bad, some big loss, what a year. We don't want to be melancholic. We want to be hopeful, even where there are challenges, and celebrate what we may have got. Because I believe there are members here who paid the MMF in full in the year under review. They paid in full, so they need to be told, thank you. You kept us afloat. Those of you who paid the MMF, some paid even as the financial year was about to start. They gave us a check at that point. Some in the first quarter, they had cleared all their quotas. So there is something good that has been observed, although we can do better. But we don't want to be sad. Again, we know that money is there to facilitate us. It is not our God. It is to enable us move from one point to another. Very important facilitation. But again, it isn't our only concern. It is our secondary concern as we fulfill our primary concern. Questions? Elder Dumo is here. Mike?
Thank you, Rita, and the GAC. One, I want to commend the Finance Committee for detailing the activities that were undertaken through the year. However, moderator, on the audited financial statements, I think we have an issue, and I am going to indicate it in the following. That we normally audit from, and we have comparatives. That is, we are having the year 2022 today compared with 2021, so that we are able to see we are beginning from 2021, which we audited and was presented last year, and then we head to where we are. When we closed the GAC, moderator, and it is recorded in the yellow books that we were provided with, those yellow books, document 9, I think page 32 or 33, indicates in the statement of comprehensive income that we closed with a surplus of 18 million. That is the accounts that were presented in the GAC 2022. We closed with 18 million. The accounts that are presented in this GAC have 1.5. Referring to the same 2021 accounts, so what has happened to our balance? Moderator, you will notice, if you did an analysis, you will notice on the financials that majority of the items, the opening balances are all changed. They have been changed. I have done an analysis. When you look at, say, the MMF correction, 166,250,000. But when you look at the financial statements presented today, it is reading 166. That is the column for the 2021. It is reading 166,240,000. So on and on, those balances, when you look at the PPE, the property or the assets, the fixed assets, the closing figure has changed. So moderator, you notice that if we started on the wrong premise on the financial statements, so that we are saying in the year 2021, we were at 18 million, and therefore when we add the income we have received in 2022, there's expenditures, then you will see the position we are left at. Moderator, then, that makes the accounts inadmissible. It makes the accounts inadmissible because they begin from the wrong premise. Thank you.
Any other question? There's a hand at that end of Elder. Name?
Thank you, moderator, and the GSC. Mine is concerned about using the common bank. Sometimes in the rural areas, we usually rely with agents. And some areas that we don't have, maybe family bank agents. And keeping this money, when you collect from congregation, to keep them at home, or some members travel long distance to look for the bank is directed to deposit our money, sometimes it's a challenge. So we need to consider some areas where we don't have maybe family bank agents. Maybe we can talk with the family bank and praise their agents there, but we have a challenge on the ground. Thank you.
Sounds like a comment or an observation, which is good. Looks like there is no other question. So let's go to Elder Dumo's question.
Thank you, moderator. I want to appreciate Elder Dumo's questions, which I want to answer as follows. Moderator, when we prepared the financial statement, normally there is a draft that comes the auditor, so that you review it, and then when you are finished with review, then if there are changes, you change, and then it is reverted and you get the final copy. So what happened is that when the final, normally what we do when that copy comes, because of the intensity of preparations of docket, we normally push it to Getau, which is the printer, so that he can now book that space and able to create the paging of other documents. So that when now finally we had the final copy, we passed it, we took it to the finance, it was approved, and then gave a final copy to the printing department. To confirm that is that the draft accounts were the one that were put in the docket instead of the final report. I wish, Minor, you project the final report. And we have the hard copy. Yeah, Catherine. So, moderator, I want to submit this as the final copy that was done and tabled to the Finance Committee and passed, which the minutes can confirm that this is the final copy that was done. That was just an error in printing. So move to the P&L minor so that members can see the balances that we closed over the year 2021. So that is the position. If you go to your docket, you'll find that this column of 2021, which is the final audited report, is the actual that is in your docket. That was just a printing error. The communication department can confirm the same, that is what happened. So in a nutshell, as much as I appreciate Elder Dumo's concern, which is true, that is what happened. But the financial statement are correct, and the finals that were done, and the evidence is there, and even the minute can confirm the same. Thank you, moderator. Then there is another question of the family bank. I think this is okay. All what we need to do is, in the event that any agencies required in a certain area. We are in good terms with the management through the Office of the Secretary General, and therefore even one member of us can be given an agency to operate within the premises of a parish, of a presbytery, for the efficiency of that. But then we still probably looking for at least one more, to in the event that you have a serious shortage in terms of availability of branch in your area in terms of family bank. Thank you, moderator.
So is the question of variance answered? It's a printing error. It has been explained. Looks like accountants are not satisfied. So we have Elder Dumo and
Moderator, even the document that is presented here is reading revenue from parishes amounting to 166 to 40. The corrected document that they have presented, if you scroll up, that is what we queried. And we are saying the document that was circulated and presented in the year 2022, the premise upon which we accepted those accounts is wrong. Moderator, if this is what is being presented, then in 2022 we passed what was wrong. And that is what was presented to us. We have had a lot of discussions, moderator. A lot of discussions ranging from even an audit. And my proposition then, moderator, would be
Greetings. It is a pleasure to inform you that the Presbyterian Church of East Africa is holding its second GAC of the 23rd General Assembly from 11th to the 14th of April 2023. This year's GAC is organized and hosted by the Central Region in Bantu Africa Resort, Plenary County. Commissioners from the 59 presbyteries of the church, as well as delegates from the departments and institutions of the church, will be in attendance. The GAC will also receive guests both locally and internationally. Inspiration and ministration will be offered by various choirs drawn from the various sides of the church. The theme of this year is drawn from Haggai 1:5b. Give careful thought to your ways.
Confirm how we closed the year and use those as the opening balance, because they will move us forward. And again, having seen that the Treasury has again explained what happened, I want to echo maybe what Elder Dumo has mentioned, but maybe with a bit of variation. I think for us accountant, moderator, we like seeing figures. And I think if we can have a recess, maybe during the lunch time, we need to confirm whether the document that is being presented by the finance officer is actually the final one, the one that is signed vis-a-vis now with what we have. So I think we need to verify, even if we get a recess, some few accountants to meet and verify those records. I think that's, but we cannot move if the opening balances, moderator, are not confirmed.
Okay, Elder Kamau is proposing that we have time to look at what has been presented here against the docket of the last GAC and the docket that we have. Because it appears that's where the disconnect is. Elder Joru, then Elder Wagula.
Thank you. Thank you, moderator and the court. First is to appreciate the work being done by the finance committee. I find it actually a good job and an improvement from what they have presented today. But there is one disconnect on the issue presented, on the issue of, and I don't know whether it will still come up on the issue of Kairete and the issue of Mirere apartment, where those things keeps on appearing in two areas. The foundation, the other GAC, we had an issue with the Mirere apartment and the finances on Kairete. That one I think they need to explain further, because I think it is a confusion in a way on the issue of the rental income and who is supposed to get, because I was fighting. The Presbyterian Foundation is asking for their finances because they seem not to have finances. And when you look at the constitutionality of the management, they are actually supposed to handle. The other issue is on the issue raised by Gitao and Dumo, where what we normally admit in terms of finances is a typo error. It's a typo error. You can only admit a typo error. But what we are fighting stage, you cannot admit on a document. This is an entire document. The whole document is all wrong and not placed. So you cannot try to, because the court did not have an opportunity to interrogate the document. So essentially, the document, what is placed in the document is not there. The document is not there, it's actually lacking. So you can only now have a way to interrogate that document for the entire court. And for you to have that opportunity, it's only the GAC to direct the body to look at it. Otherwise, this is not a typo error. What is now being discussed is not a typo error, because now it invalidates the entire document since it was not placed. Whether it was a mistake or not, we give the benefit of that because they have shown us the document is there. But that document is not documented. So with all due respect, I request, because I think even the timing and whatever could not be there for everybody to interrogate it, let it be handled by the business committee. We make a ruling that the GAC directs the business committee to look at that document in the next sitting for proper interrogation of the document.
Elder Wagura.
Thank you, moderator and the GAC. From the professional point of view, what we are discussing and what is being presented to us is not acceptable here, because the last GAC, we were presented with the financials, and those financial statements were adopted. And here we are coming to another GAC, and we are coming to do what we call prior year adjustment of 18 million on a document and on financials which were signed and audited and accepted by this GAC, by the previous GAC. Then after that, and there is a period within which we are supposed to present the financials financial statements are adjusted with 18 million. That one, and the opening balances, the balances that we confirmed, that these are our balances. If this is what was there, we confirmed. Then we get new balances. I think that one is a quick check to know where did they come from and why did they come after we had already concluded. We had accepted the document then, but later it is being adjusted with a significant amount of 18 million. This one is. Then our balances were wrong. We need to open the other audit, accept, then close and transfer those balances as opening balances for what we are now interrogating now. So I agree now that this adjustment is should not be accepted here. It needs a quick check to identify where did these new balances come from and what was adjusted and why, since the auditor had already audited the previous balances. Thank you.
Okay, now to make a way forward, here we have, from what I'm gathering, there was a closing balance of the last GAC. When we come to the what is in the docket today, that has changed. Is that what I'm hearing? That has changed. Therefore, that raises a concern, because if I received my bank statement and the bank statement closed at this figure, the new statement should open at the same figure. So I hear like we are saying that the last GAC closed the accounts at a certain figure, so the new accounts should open at that figure. Hiyo ndio nashika. Hata mimi ya mambo ya account najua. Okay. Then there is the issue. Then there are the accounts that are in the docket, and the office, the finance department has said they have another document, which is not the one in the docket. Did I hear that? And therefore, then they say that one now explains or moves us from the last balance brought forward to what should be today. And then the question is, are we able to consume that now? That's the question that we need to answer. If we are not able, and suggestions have been made that we need time. Because if there is a new document, even if you take new evidence in court, you must give the court time to study that evidence to see what it amounts to. So if there is a document that you do not have that is being, brought to us, it needs first to be scrutinized to see whether it flows from the last GAC to this GAC. Is that where we are? So, way forward then. Although suggestions have already been made, are you making the same suggestion? Elder Kamau. He had made the suggestion, then we can get another one.
Yes, thank you, Moderator. I'm making the same suggestion, Moderator, that we meet today, those who are finance experts. In case we see there's a much bigger problem, we can recommend to the GAC for now the postponement may be to the business. But if there's an issue that can be sorted today, Moderator, because of time constraint, because of other implications of appointment of the auditors and that need to be done today, I'll propose that we meet today. If the committee that will be selected to meet today can make a recommendation whether to resolve today, Moderator, or to push it to the business committee for the sake of time. But I agree that we need to look at it.
That's a proposal. Is there another proposal? Is that seconded? Are you seconding it? Those who are raising their hands? Okay, so there is no other proposal. We take that. Okay. Who will do that? Who are the accountants in the house? CPAs like me? CPAs tusimame? Unajua moderator hawezi simama. Aha. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the minister there, 7. Do you like them? Aya, who convenes them? Gather. We want a report before when? By the end of the day? Okay, if they need more time, they will tell us. Okay, I think that's done then. Can we move to those who are comments or are they questions? There were questions plus comments, eh? So can we go to the resolutions or they will be affected? We wait. Okay, then you can step down. Give them a clap. Thank you. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. There were some committees that were tasked with responsibilities, and we usually receive drafts. So the Secretary General can guide us so that we inquire whether any one of them is ready.
Yes, Moderator, we know they were supposed to report at the end of the next session. But if they are ready, we have the congregations, report to the congregations. Are you ready with your first draft?
Message to congregations?
Seems not ready.
Who is the convener? Not ready?
Okay, fine. So if time allows, If time allows, we can also have the press yeah, if time allows after them, we can have the press committee because we are supposed to go for lunch at 2:30.
Early lunch. Yesterday it was 5:30. Today will be early lunch, 2:30.
Moderator, sir, and the GAC, I would like to invite the Secretary to read the first draft of message to the congregation.
Thank you, Moderator, and the GAC. Apologies, Moderator, we thought you presented in the afternoon, so we had not had a chance to print the report. But I'll go through it. As we discussed the first draft with the committee. I'm Ruben Kamau from Milima North Presbytery. Message to the congregation from 2nd GAC of the 23rd General Assembly. Preamble. We, the 128 commissioners and 13 delegates from the 59 presbyteries in the 2nd General Administrative Committee of the 23rd General Assembly meeting at Bantu Africa Resort, Nyeri, from 11th to 14th April 2023, send you Easter greetings as we continue to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ. We are grateful to God for enabling us again to meet during the Easter period. This is a time of joy, and the risen Christ is the apex of our faith. Apostle Paul captured the importance of the risen Christ in 1 Corinthians 15:17 when he writes, and if Christ has been raised, your faith is futile, you are still in your sins. This is a season run for 7 weeks in order for another season of joy to be ushered, the season of Pentecost, and on the season of Advent, and another season of hope. Theme. This GAC meet under the 23rd General Assembly theme of giving careful thought to your ways, or consider your ways, Haggai 1:5b. This would therefore naturally mean that we have not yet got to the level we should get as per the expectation of our Lord. The Bible exposition for this theme was done by Dr. John Kifoy, head of the Theology Department at St. Paul University. Guests. This GAC was graced by the presence of a number of guests, both within the country and overseas. There is Pastor Ampa Weneo and Pastor Albert Nyabenga from legal representative of ECAA and moderator of the General Assembly. There's French name there. There's Reverend Savari K. Diome of United Presbyterian Church. 3, the General Secretary of NCCK, moderator, I'll get the name. 4, Reverend Laban Mohota of Abundant Life Church. Honorable Mutahi Kahiga, EGH, Governor Nyeri County. Ms. Rebecca Bidhi, Managing Director and CEO, Family Bank. Mr. Robert Joroge, Territory Manager at Safaricom. The guests appeared both in person at the meeting and virtually. Appreciation. This GAC observed that the last year has been very difficult due to economic hardship and general election. Despite this GAC was appreciative that members remained steadfast and selfless in their support to the church. We urge our members not to tire in doing good. Achievements. This GAC noted with appreciation the following achievement. This GAC noted with appreciation the following achievements that had been realized despite the adverse environment affecting the church. Church institutions. Number 1, the church institutions continue to grow and discharge their mandate. We have seen many of them have made a good strides in improving the infrastructures, and this has resulted to positive results in form of profitability. We urge all our members to support our institutions. Our mission through media. The entire country and our members have continued to be ministered to through GAC TV. The moderator also ministered to the entire church and national, specifically Tanzania, from PCA Alenganga Church, Usa River in Arusha, Tanzania, during the Christmas Day, courtesy of Tanzania Broadcasting Corporation. Environment. Number 3, the church signed an MOU between PCA and Kefri at PCA Ololua Church in Ngong, Presbytery in November 2022. A campaign of tree planting started on that day. Anniversary celebrations. Number 4, the church observed the 100 years anniversary celebration of PCA Women's Guild Fellowship in May 2022 at PCA Church of the Church. We thank God for this far and the great work that has been done by the Women Guild fraternity across our parishes. B, celebrated over 40 years of PCA Clergy Woman Coordination Anniversary, Thanksgiving celebration in PCA Bahati Matias and PCA Church of the Church on August 9th and September 14th, 2022, respectively. C, celebrated over the PCA Eastern Region, Meru, 100 years celebration in October 2022. Achievement number 5, creation of new parishes and presbyteries. Our church continued to grow and reach new territories for the last 1 year. Since the first GAC, many new churches have been dedicated. Among the dedicated churches include PCA Katulani in Kitui, PCA Head Office Chapel, PCA Sakahola in Marindi, PCA Bahati in Zombe, and PCA Tambani in Kiungani, and PCA Sagot in Eldoret. Since the last GAC, 5 parishes have been subdivided and 3 outreaches upgraded to parish status. We thank God. We thank all those members, elders, and ministers who have made this possible. Achievement number 6, new ordained ministers and evangelists. As our church continues to grow, the church is committed to increase the number of personnel. Many ministers have been trained and ordained. Many other students are undergoing training in various parishes and education institutions, including Puer and St. Paul University. Achievement number 7, ministry to the needy. The church, through BSR and a mission board, as well as presbyteries and parishes, continue to be committed to reaching to the needy and the vulnerable in our society. The church participated in relief distribution in many parts of our country affected by the prolonged drought due to failed rains. We encourage all parishes to participate in this initiative. The church also intervened in some areas with clean water by drilling borehole and providing needy communities with reliable clean water, among them a borehole at PCA Kianguni in Kitui. This also helped to reduce waterborne diseases. Number 8 achievement, ISO certification. Our church continued to provide a world-class health care. During the year we received the ISO certificate of PC Kikuyu Hospital at Mlele, Nairobi in July 2022. We urge our health institutions to continue providing quality health care and at affordable rates. Support from presbyteries and parishes. We are grateful for the continued support received from parishes, presbytery, and institutions in terms of MMF and project support. We encourage all to enhance this support for the good of the kingdom. Item number 6, practice and procedure manual. The GAC directs the subcommittee appointed by the business committee to work on the review of the manual work with speed to ensure the exercise is completed without further delay, ready for presentation to the next GA. We appreciate the work so far done. Number 7, church projects and investments. The GAC directed parishes and church institutions to be careful while borrowing and follow the laid down procedures in consultation with the foundation. Number 2, the GAC also direct parishes and church institutions to clear their existing loans and liabilities before committing to new projects. We must adhere to the time principle of first saving before investing. In fact, we borrow this from the moderator report that we should be advised by the motto of our PCA Circle: save regularly and borrow wisely. Number 8, stewardship of resources. The GAC directs zero tolerance to corruption. Leaders and all members must be good stewards of what is entrusted to them. All levels of the church to review their expenditure and reduce our on spending and wastage. We must learn contentment as taught by scripture of 1 Timothy 6:10. Number 9, environmental stewardship. Having signed an MOU with GAC, we must up our game in this area. By signing the MOU, we pledged to avail our land, both institutional and personnel, for the qualitative and qualitative tree growing. On their part, GAC will provide expertise and seed to plant in designated tree nursery. To support this campaign, we insist on tree planting at all our major churches, events, at all levels. An environmental Sunday will be observed on every first Sunday of the month of May, as agreed upon by the business committee. This is Sunday when deeper sensitization of the effects of global warming and how can be mitigated should be done. LGBTQ, that is number 10. As a conscience of society, the church is called to be prophetic and at the forefront in defining the acceptable societal ethos and values. PCA Church will not keep quiet and watch any registration for laws that contravene the acceptable ethos and values. It is unfortunate that these perversions are now with us. The recent ruling by the Supreme Court to allow the forming of an association by the group left us shocked. As a church, we made our statement very loudly and clear that we do not accept that verdict. We are linking up with other people opposed to this vice and make relevant appeals. We urge the parishes to ensure our congregants are given the sound teaching from the pulpit and in seminars. We urge our members to remain alert as this teaching and groups have infiltrated our learning institutions and neighborhood. We therefore must act appropriately against church. Number 11, GMO. The business committee appointed a team of 5 professionals to research and present a paper that will guide on this matter. They presented a well-researched document on March 1st, 2023, and their considered advice was that GMO food pose a danger to our country if they will be guided by external organizations. We advise that our government should require such matters to be handled by our local scientists who are equal to the task. Failure to address these matters will affect our health sector in future. COVID-19. Number 12. We thank God that COVID-19 has subsided and normalcy is resuming. COVID-19 has had a significant impact on the church and her mission. We cannot forget the loss of lives and livelihood, impact on flow of financial resources, as well as socio-economic and psychological impact on the church members and the entire human society. It is our hope that as we return to our normal ways of interaction, we should not stop practicing the safe practices such as regular hand washing and general hygiene. Number 13, finances. Stable and efficient financial systems are necessary, component in every stable organization. Whereas the church is not a profit-making entity, steady source of income are necessary to ensure effective and sustainable mission ministry. Even in the event of reduced giving by the members, it is for this reason that Kailete Limited was established as a vehicle to manage church projects on behalf of the church. We are grateful to the support Kailete has received from the presbyteries, and we encourage all presbyteries to do all possible to ensure that the money owed to Kailete is paid. The church is, on the other hand, responsible of ensuring accountable use of management of all financial resources to ensure that monies are used for the right purpose and that proper reporting is done. Number 14, education. Education remains the key of effective character formation and emancipation of society. The church shall continue to enhance its support to the church-owned and church-sponsored educational institutions. In this regard, the following will continue to be the focus of this church. Prison University of East Africa, Lubate Teachers Training College, chaplaincy in learning institutions and schools. We urge all our members to support the institution by enrolling for various courses. Number 15, institutions. Despite the various challenges experienced, this GAC is appreciative of the gradual improvement and growth in our institutions, which include our hotels, our hospitals, GAC TV, and GAC Insurance Agency. We also appreciate the great partnership we have with our sponsored institutions and schools. The GAC urge members to support the church through the utilization of these facilities. Number 16, I'm almost done, moderator. The family unit, the family unit is a reflection of the church and the nation and must be safeguarded for there to be a strong society. These GAC urge members to consider their ways before the Lord, honor the family and uphold family values, honesty and faithfulness, hard work, love, forgiveness, and peaceful interpersonal communication. This will help to raise the next generation and honor the fear of the Lord. This GAC also appreciate the youth in the church, noting that this is the church of today. Number 17, church state of the nation. We are thankful to God that He has held our country as a republic now for almost 60 years. Much has been achieved in terms of development over the period. Thankfully, during the year under review, we went through general elections, and once again, thankfully, they were conducted peacefully and new government installed. There are, however, other factors that are affecting Kenya negatively. These include drought that has caused famine. This has affected livelihood and generally food security. B, the cost of living is high as our Kenya currency has weakened against the major world currencies. This has made import and payments of external debt very expensive. Public debt, it's also at all-time high, and the revenue collected entirely may not be able to promptly service it for local spending demand more than borrowing. These are some of the outstanding matters that require a collective and united approach to look for remedies. As PCA, we are willing to support the prayers and ideas. Conclusions. Our prayers for each one and all of you is to be found acceptable at the end of our lives, remembering that much as we are justified and sanctified in this life, we will only be glorified after our labor on earth. We must invest more in the permanent than in the temporal. As a church, we must not lose our favor as the salt of the earth, nor dim our light as the light of the world. Matthew 5:13, 14, I quote from the moderator's report. May our good God bless us all. Dego Motahi, moderator to the General Assembly. Thank you.
Moderator, I second that report as first draft message to the congregation.
A clap. Thank you, team, for work done. Let us now engage with them. And one thing is to realize the message is going to congregations. It will be read in the church services. So again, we do not need a very long one, because there are some who slip through it. And when they wake up, they only hear that it has been signed, usually signed by the moderator and the Secretary General. That's what they can only tell. So we need something that, there are things we wouldn't want them not to know that happened here. There are things that have happened here we would want the congregations to know, but in a way that is, eye-catching, ear-catching, heart-catching, things that maybe they can take home after the the message is read. So we need to look at it that way. Not very long, but again, not missing out some of very important things that they have captured. Good work that far. Okay, let's engage with it now in the next few minutes so that we can break for lunch. Level Karanja.
Thank you, Moderator, and the entire GAC. Just as you have said, much needs to be done on summary, and some of the things may be transferred also to the press statement. About the visitors who visited us, there is that visitor from Abundance Church was representing an ecumenical body, so I think that one should be included. I don't know whether it passed me, but also we had a visitor from Mura, that's Christian-Muslim relations. I don't know whether that one was mentioned. Another thing that I thought was important for the congregations is about the JPRC week, which was one of our resolutions. So I think it's important that it's included because it will affect our congregations. Thank you, Moderator.
Raguyo.
Thank you, Moderator. The Ecumenical Council of Bishop, it's actually Bishop Paul Wajohi who had sent the Reverend Muhota. So that's a correction. Then the issue of referring to this, we know we are writing to other people, so we cannot call ourselves this. It's the General Administration Committee. I also note that a very important thing that the administration of the church that was during this in the port. The port that I feel is a good management tool, and it was mentioned, I think, from the Secretary General's report, is the issue of strategic planning. And I think as a way of improving performance, that's an area that I think should not be left out. The issue of dialogue that was mentioned by both the Secretary General, the Moderator, also should come out very clearly. And also the issue of our church that got burnt at Kibera. I think this General Assembly should not miss to mention and show concern of such outcomes of those kind of things. I also feel that the issue of teaching of sound doctrine in the church, I don't think there is any time that a GAC like this should meet and not emphasize on the teaching of the word, because that's our core business, and I think those are issues that need to be captured. Thank you.
Darusi and Levermori.
Thank you, Moderator. Thank you, Moderator. I think, I don't know whether I missed it out, but I think the voice of the church should be heard concerning the family, the emerging issues about killings, people killing each other in the families, and also the divorce, and all those things related to family. I think we need to hear the voice of the church very clear. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I want also to appreciate the good work of the team. But one correction is, I don't think we are visitors from overseas. They are within the continent. I don't know whether my language is correct.
They came virtually.
Virtually?
Yes.
But then it doesn't mention we are visitors within the continent. Also, as a mission church, I think we can be more specific on the team from Uganda, I mean Tanzania, the whole team of evangelists. Mentioning it, I think it's important. And on the same note, noting the shortage from which we have come from on the issue of ministers, and also now going to tent makers, it is not very good just to say many. We have the statistics. I think they can mention the number of ministers in institutions. And also those that have already been animated, it is encouraging because of where we are coming from.
Thank you, Moderator. I first want to commend them for that work well done. And it is also good, rather than just mentioning the name of the person who did the Bible exposition, it is good to capture a bit of what he said, because it is from there we get the theme.
You have given them more materials, yet we wanted to be more summarized. But I think they are equal to that task of capturing what we have said, maybe excluding a few things that they may have said, so that it is not too long. Again, it doesn't miss the important things. It's not too long, doesn't mean. It starts with we, this number of commissioners. This number of commissioners assembled who had met at Bantu, whatever, all that. Then it is, of course, it has subtitles all the way to the signatures of the Secretary General and the moderator. You have very good material to build on, plus what you have had, but you must make it shorter. You must. You must make it shorter without losing. We don't want to lose the important things that were said. But again, we do not want it to serve like a sleeping pill to the members. You remember it will be read usually on a Sunday service, while there are many other things that will be done. Many other things that will be done, and the person leading it may not have interacted with it. So they will stumble as they read. So you need to be kind to them, because they will be interacting with it for the first time. For us, it is easy. When we mention the names we mention, it's easy for us. We have now got used to it. But the person leading it, the registrar or whoever, is interacting with that report for the first time. So they will stumble here and there, misrepresent. So it's good to make it easy for them, so that they read something that purely our members will absorb. There are some who are very keen. They're even asking for it now. There are some who are very keen to know what transpired here. And very important things have been captured. Again, we hope you have some people who are equal to translating in Kiswahili, because we require a Kiswahili version as we go on. Again, remember that it will be read in all congregations. Think about the congregation in Bear, the congregation in Guru, the congregation in Lokshogyo. Sit there in the pew and listen. Listen for them. So take that into mind as you do it. Otherwise, good job. Clap for them. They will bring us another draft.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Choir, I know we will lunch at 2:30. They have said it has rained where we were to have lunch, so we push it to 3. So choir, Naivasha choir. Yes. Any other choir? Oh, okay.
The subcommittee,
Be coming.
do you have a draft? The moderators report resolutions committee, are you ready? You have a draft? Press release? Okay, then we will see whether time allows. We first have the choir. Asante. Haya. Tusiweke tumaini kwa mwanadamu. Tuweke tumaini kwa Yesu. Nyinyi ningeomba mimi nipigwe picha na nyinyi. Ningeomba tu ikiwezekana. Mkiniruhusu baadaye tukimaliza hapa tutakuja na maofisa. Tupigwe picha. Tumeomba. Mumekubali? Asante. Okay. SG.
Thank you, Moreta. I think we still have some time to read. Okay. I'm checking on how many are checking on their watches. We still have some 10 minutes, and I think the press release committee can very fast give their first draft.
Thank you, Moderator, and the members of the GAC. We were in this press release committee. I will request the members of the committee to be upstanding. Yes, these were the members that we have been sitting to come up with the first draft. Thank you so much. And I now invite the secretary to read through the first draft.
Thank you, Chair. We are going to go through the first draft, and it is also projected, so we are all going to follow. So I read. Presbyterian Church of East Africa, Second GAC of the 23rd General Assembly, 11th to 14th April 2023. Press release. So we have the preamble. The Presbyterian Church of East Africa, through her 145 commissioners and delegates meeting from 11th to 14th April 2023 at Bantu Africa Resort in Nyeri County, sends warm Easter greetings to the East African community. The GAC met immediately after the inauguration of the 59th Nairobi South Presbytery. The theme that guided GAC is Haggai 1:5b. Give careful thought to your ways. During the meeting, we noted with appreciation the effort put by the government and its agents to grow 15 billion trees, an initiative that the church has committed to support. The meetings were also concerned about the prolonged political tension and prayed for sobriety to resolve the differences amicably. The church has considered several factors to be looked at as we seek a harmonious nation. The first one, environmental stewardship. Environment is a key pillar, a backbone to every area of human existence and survival. We therefore appeal to all citizens to exercise responsibility, patriotism in taking care of the environs. The church takes cognizance that with gratitude, the effort by government to increase tree coverage to 10%. To support this initiative, PCA Church has partnered with Carefree at the State Department of Environment with commitment to plant 10 million trees. The church is calling each citizen to heed to this clarion call during this rainy season to plant and nurture the trees. Alcoholism, drug and substance abuse. The church is concerned on availability and access to various products of abuse, which include alcohol, opioids, coca products, cannabis, and other substances. Over time, access of alcohol, drugs, and substances of abuse has increased, which has negatively impacted on families, health, education, increased crime, and unemployment. We are urging Kenyans, and particularly the youth, to desist from utilizing these products due to catastrophic effects with myriad of negative consequences that affect productivity for the country in all ways. We are cognizant of the fact that there are members of the society that have indulged in this vice and require rehabilitation to normalize their lives as well as integrated with families. The government, church, development partners, and other stakeholders should urgently collaborate to intervene timely and appropriately to develop a multi-sectoral strategy to prevent the vice and rehabilitate the affected individuals. Healthcare in the country. Extending the healing ministry, the church is concerned on health of the nation by empowering people to improve their lives. We recognize the government's effort to increase universal health coverage, partnering with church health facilities. The church is committed to augment this effort in care of the citizen. Access to quality health care is vital to guarantee survival, productivity, and social being of individuals. Nationally and globally, we are threatened by several emerging diseases which, if unchecked, may have devastating effect to a nation. In this regard, Kenya is facing several challenges which include availability of essential health products, affordability of health services, quality of services, health financing, and human resource for health. These factors affect universal health coverage, which require government to at least allocate 15% budget to the health sector, as well as improving health insurance coverage for sustainability. The church is asking citizens to enroll with this health insurance program as we appeal to the government to improve current allocation from under 4% to 15%. Insecurity and national cohesion. The current insecurity situation is worrying, with dockets of incidences such as banditry in northern Kenya and outlawed groups. This is due to cattle rustling, elections aftermath, Al-Shabaab at the coast, and other areas. Therefore, need for toning down political utterance, developing the north, upgrading livestock, marketing, and upholding education. Political stability is paramount to any nation's economic transformation and social stability, which leads to peaceful coexistence. As a church, therefore, we encourage the observation of the rule of law, guiding on elections, picketing, and demonstration. The church advocates for a national dialogue to address the more pressing issues like cost of living, youth unemployment, CBC implementation. For we believe our problems are not political, and therefore call upon leaders across the board to address the real issues. We salute our President for taking leadership in initiating consultation through a bipartisan approach to fast track on those pressing issues of IEBC constitution rather than confrontation. Food security. Currently, food situation is disturbing. Perennial rain insufficiency and outdated farming methods being the major cause. This would be curtailed by mechanized farming, irrigation, and adaptation of modern technologies where necessary. The church commitment to her prophetic role. Since inception, the church has remained to be the conscience of the society. Our Lord Jesus Christ referred to his church as the light and salt of the world. That is from Matthew 5:13 to 16. He also declared his ministerial manifesto at the beginning of his early ministry to include bringing liberation for the oppressed, wholeness of life, salvation, and a just society. The church should therefore effectively participate in national matters engaging the government objectively, refusing to be moiled with partisan politics or risk losing not only the opportunity to contribute in shaping the future of the nation and the lives of the citizenry, but her moral authority to provide leadership. Youth and unemployment. It is a well-known fact that youth form the larger population in Kenya, yet facing a lot of challenges. One of the major ones is unemployment, which causes frustration that leads to involvement in unbecoming behaviors. To help the young people, the government must embark on job creation for the youth. The young people must be trained to focus on self-employment more. LGBTQ. LGBTQ was believed to be a foreign issue, but in recent time, it is emerging as an issue with us. The church is concerned with the trade because it is against Christian faith and practices. The recent ruling by the Supreme Court in favor of LGBTQ+ has left the church worried, as it is contrary to God-created order for the family. The church condemns the ruling and requests for a review of the same. Governance and corruption. The church expresses its concern on the rising levels of corruption and poor governance. We urge the citizens and the general public to follow and adhere to the law of the land in all their activities. It is upon the government to put in place a strong regulatory framework and to ensure the same is followed to the latter. Corruption and poor governance has eroded the confidence of the citizens in the services delivered. Hence, the government should come up strongly in curbing the vice for the betterment of the public and ensure efficiency in all government services. Cost of living. The church recognizes the effort the government is making in containing the cost of living, even as there is a slowdown in the economy coupled with the depressed shilling against major world currencies. This has brought higher fuel prices and increased cost basic commodities, thus exposing mwananchi to rogue merchants. Due to the foregoing, the cost of living has been on an upward trajectory. We therefore call upon the government to address the issues therein for the benefits of its citizens. The government also needs to address the taxation on basic goods. Family institution. The family is the basic unit that creates the society, church, and a nation at large. Family as an institution needs to put our needs and minds together for progress and development. Currently, this unit is under serious threat, thwarting moral standing. Cohesiveness in society, which affects our next generations. A number of challenges have been cited. 1, communication breakdown due to economic factors. 2nd, parenting. 3rd, family separation. The church urges all stakeholders to uphold the dignity of the family as prescribed in the Christian faith, which include training. Education. PCA Church continues to embrace quality education as a social equalizer and as a means to propel our economy to great heights. Education is one of the key pillars of PCA Church, and this is the reason the church partners with the government in providing quality education at all levels, as depicted in increasing number of learning institutions run by the church and others sponsored by the church. To ensure quality education is provided in all learning institutions, the church organizes capacity building workshops for all the heads of these institutions. Through Christian Education Department, the church has organized mentorship programs for the learners in these learning institutions. The church also provides chaplaincy in these learning institutions. PCA Church has embraced the competency-based curriculum as it is one of the ways to ensure graduates at every level are equipped with skills to prepare them for the world out there. However, the church has noted with a lot of concern that implementation of the CBC curriculum is facing some challenges, especially in the public schools. Some of these challenges include lack of appropriate infrastructure, trained teachers, and teaching and learning materials. The church calls upon the government and partners to move with speed to ensure smooth implementation of the curriculum. Apparently, the cost of education seems expensive and inaccessible to most in need with limited capacity in public facilities. It is against this backdrop we are persuading the government to expand and leverage through capitation on existing non-public institutions to address the current gap. Conclusion. We appeal to all members of the East African community to consider their ways in all aspects of life. As a church, we shall continue to play our role to be the salt and light of the earth and practice our prophetic role. We pray that God will continue to bind us together for His glory. May God abundantly bless all of us. Thank you.
It's a draft, eh? Okay. Lest you disown it. Okay, a clap for them. A very good draft. This goes to the media, goes to the print media. So it must communicate not just to PCA, but to the nation. It must communicate to the nation. Again, we pay lots of money, so we must also be careful not to make it too long because of the columns we shall have to buy. Well, not that we are a poor church, after all, we are the church of the rich. But again, we do not want to steward resources well. So I invite you now to engage and make comments. We start here now. Reverend Mwati, back there, there's a hand. Reverend Mwati is here, then there will be a mic there at the back, then we'll come to this row.
Thank you, moderator. I first want to commend them for that work. Well done. They opened by sending greetings to all Africans.
East Africans.
Yes, but it is also good to acknowledge that our brothers from diaspora sent us greetings. So we reciprocate by sending them greetings. Thank you.
At the back. Then here.
Thank you so much.
Hiyo mic usipeleke bali isikae hapa.
Asante Bwana Moderator. I have two corrections to make. One, there is a place they are using we. How I wish that they can use the term either PCA or the church instead of saying we. The other one is about correction of prophetic. Prophetic law, P is missing. P is missing the prophetic. The other one is about
grammar.
L, GT, whatever. That one should be written in capital letters, not in small letters. Thank you.
Shetani anataka kuaibishwa kabisa. Reverend Michael.
Thank you, moderator, and the entire GAC. I join the others in commending the team for the work. But on the items on food security, I think we should have something to put to the nation in regard to the GMO and the debate that we've had and our reservations. Now that we even have a preliminary report from a moderator in the business committee on the negative effect of that. The other one is on the security. There's some place they have put about Al-Shabaab. I would remove that Al-Shabaab and put, other terrorist groups or something of that nature. Thank you, Bwana Moderator.
We are here now. That is Level Karanja.
Thank you, Moderator. The issue of GMO, I would also want it to be included. There is also the issue of health. It's good that we also show the country what we are doing and to mention about the ISO certification of PCA, because there is something we are also doing. Thank you. It's a good statement or press release.
Thank you, Moderator. Since it is a message to the nation, in conclusion, I feel it may sound better if we say, may God bless Kenya.
Okay.
Thank you, Moderator, and the GAC. Yeah, the committee have captured the mood and the spirit of the GAC as pertains this message. However, I would like to say some words, they need to be edited. For example, the church condemns. We can use the word the church disagrees with the ruling of the Supreme Court. And also, the bipartisan dialogue, I think we can also add and say it should be done within the confines of the law. Thank you very much.
Okay. There's somewhere where you had mentioned 59th Presbytery. This may not necessarily be, I think it is not very much significant when we are communicating to the nation, but maybe it can be cut and pasted to the message to the congregation. Yeah, because we need to tell the congregation that our church has grown to 59 presbyteries. And sometimes we are not able to tell which is the 59th because the presbytery was subdivided. There are two pieces now. There is the new Nairobi East and Nairobi South. So we hesitate to say which is the 59th, but we are 59. So maybe that could go to message to congregation, but I don't think it's necessary to say it in the press release. You are back. Okay.
Thank you, Moderator. Just remember that in the place, I don't know, because I don't think they have captured, we are noticing or seeing increasing invasion of private property in the land. I don't know how we're going to frame it, but I think from this GAC, we should be able to pass a message to the nation that this is wrong and people must respect private property.
You have heard that? Again, like we told the team doing the message to congregations, we want you to capture everything but make it short. Yes, all that has been said we want it captured, including what you already have. Then in your own wisdom, you'll know what words to use to make it shorter. Leverage is the last one.
Thank you. In addition to what my brother Leverett Kimana has stated, it is also good to mention something about the invasion or destroying of our places of worship, because these have been respected centers of either rescue and seek of where we seek security from. It is also should find a way in that press statement that we discourage members of the public from invasion of places of worship where they should be learning for their security. At least, because in my understanding, there are only 3 or 4 places where the humanity can learn and get secure. One is the church, The second is a police station and an hospital. So those are the gazetted places where one cannot be removed when he goes to seek a service. So they should not be destroyed by the criminals. These are centers of security for all humanity.
Thank you. We are done. We clap for them as they disembark.
Moderator, thank you. I think it's now time we can break for lunch, and I'll request the hospitality committee to tell us what to do. I know there have been changes, and they need to update us on where we should be going. There are some few announcements. Wale watu wa mahesabu to meet here. That committee to meet here where we have the WIMA's desk. Yes, together with the finance team, definitely, they'll meet together. DST, I think, has got something.
Yes, Moderator, and just two, that PCA Tumaini Children's Home from Reamukurwe Parish here in Nyeri Presbytery, they have a tent outside there. Kindly you can visit them so that you are able to even promote them with what they have in that tent. Support the Tumaini Children's Home. Number two is that Tomotomo Hospital, being our main hospital around here, they indeed are supporting this GAC because they are offering for us first aid. You saw that they even have an ambulance here just in case of anything. But right outside this main door, there's a boardroom opposite there. There's a nurse station there for first aid. So if you want your BP, blood sugar, eye checkup, HIV, testing and counseling, and any other first aid, it is there and it is pro bono. We are offering it at no cost, and therefore, if you need to pass by there, they are supporting this church, rejoicing that the GAC has come to Mount Kenya where they are. Thank you, Moderator.
Hospitality, please.
Sarah. Let's pay for the food, and we are going to take it as they are down. There are two service points. Let's pray. Our Father, we are here before you again, praying that you have been with us all along the day, and now that it is time to go to take our lunch, oh Father. We pray that we are going to be as we partake our lunch, and you bless us as we take it, oh Lord. Remember the one who don't have, Father, and the one who have, but they can't take it because of the pain of the body, oh Jehovah. Bless us that we take it. In Jesus' name, I do believe. Amen.
Yeah, praise committee to meet after lunch next to the swimming pool. Please let us take our lunch first so that we don't get delayed. I'm sure today we have some treats from the Mount Kenya region. So we come back here at 4:30. 4:30, we'll be back. It's now about 20 minutes past 3. So 1 hour, 10 minutes is enough for one to eat and rest. Can we be upstanding for the moderator's recess?